Hello and welcome to the Grade 11 Unit 6 ELA video series. I'm Elisa Ruffin with Leading Educators, and this is your Week 3 Lesson 12 lesson. We have been reading through Alice Walker's Everyday Use, and so far we've done another read and analysis of the text, responding to questions and doing a quick write, and we've started down our pathway of analyzing craft and structure. So remembering that example of putting on the writer's lens so that we're examining some of the techniques and decisions that an author makes and uses in order to advance the plot, convey the theme, and portray characters. So today we are going to talk a little bit about vocabulary and how big of an impact that word choice can have to serve the author's means of advancing the plot or portraying the characters in a certain light. But before we get into any further detail, quick reminders: when you're done with the lesson activities, I'm sure you know what I'm going to say by now, make sure you're sharing your learning with a family member, friend, or caregiver, that you're completing the weekly fluency activities with at least one page from the text, and you're doing 20 minutes of reading a day that you choose to do. So your choice, recreational, but I'm really hoping that the activities that we're doing so far is helping you enjoy even your leisure reading more. We've also come to the part of our lesson where we do our riddle of the day, and I hope you're ready for it, and everyone who may have been participating with you in this particular exercise is ready as well. We're going to jump in so we can get our brain going for today and we can get to our lesson. If two's company and 3 is a crowd, what are 4 and 5? If 2's company and 3 is a crowd, what are 4 and 5? You can take a minute, pause the video, talk about it, discuss it, debate it, etc., but don't Google. And here comes your answer. 9. If 2's company and 3 is a crowd, then what are 4 and 5? 4 and 5 are 9. So this is one of those riddles that kind of reads like a joke to me. I mean, it all really depends on your delivery and your tone. So it could be a riddle, or it could seem like a joke and the answer is a punchline. So tone is really important. How something is delivered can really impact how things are received and perceived by the person listening. And this applies to literature as well. So as we talk about word choice and so on and so forth, the idea of tone is going to come up. So this was actually a really good lead in to our work for today. As always, let's check our resources and materials to make sure we're ready to go. You need your everyday use text, learning packet, week 3, lesson 12 note catcher, pen or pencil, and remember, a smartphone or mobile device is optional and not required. All depends on whether or not you like digital access to the text. Our lesson 12 overview, our target for today. I can describe how the author's word choice contributes to the portrayal of characters and the overall tone of the story. Again, that word tone coming up for us. So foreshadowing what's to come, people. It's coming. Again, our read, think, talk, write protocol, full effect with a closing activity. Today is no different. You are going to be talking with a family member, caregiver, or friend about words that you think describe the main characters of the story. So it's a brainstorm activity, kind of a free-flowing, free response type activity where you think about characters like Wanjero, you think about Mama, you think about Maggie, and you're going to generate a list of 2 to 3 words that describe each one off the top of your head, right? Quick responses. And then you're going to write those responses down in the talk section of your note catcher. All of these activities today build on each other and will prepare you for the next activity. The think section has you thinking about how the vocabulary from this particular text, and you'll find them in bold with definitions in the margins, help you understand why Mama and Wanjero have different attitudes toward Maggie. These are very intentional words being used here by the author. And I want you to think through how these words help you get a better understanding of their attitude toward the other character, Maggie. The concept vocabulary chart you're going to go through today, and then a closing activity that has you coming up with another list of words. And I'll get into more details about those 2 ending sections a little bit later in the video. A reminder to keep our essential question in the forefront here. What do stories reveal about the human condition? And our guiding question for the text: what factors lead a person to accept, reject, or feel neutral about his or her heritage? Looking at our quick model for today to get you set up to do this particular activity, I am actually going to suggest that you start with the vocabulary chart first. And I have the term synonym rectangled here because you're going to find the word and the definition in the text already. Like I told you before, they're in bold and the definitions are in the margins. So when you fill in this chart, you only need to go back to the text and find those. The thing that you're going to have to do on your own, though, is come up with a synonym or a word that is similar to the original word and has the same definition and meaning. And this is just going to help clarify your understanding of the word and even notice a different word that the author could have chosen but did not. And you want to think through, how do these particular words serve to advance the plot, depict the character's feelings, and set the tone for the overall story? The other thing that you're going to notice as you think through synonyms is that there is a distinct difference between the characters' interaction with each other verbally, in other words, their dialogue with each other, and some of the words that are used outside of dialogue. So we talked a little bit about dialect and so on. So you have that type of language going on, but then the language around it is a little bit different. The concept vocabulary words, you're going to leverage your ideas and your understanding of those vocabulary words to help you understand why Mama and Wanjiro have different attitudes toward Maggie. And once you see the definition of those words, you'll start to notice that they have a very specific point of view and they leave you with an overall impression of who Maggie is. How you feel about that, keep note of, because that may come up a little later. But it's a very distinct impact that the sum total of these words have. And then, once you've completed that chart, I want you to think about the author's intention behind using those words as you're answering that think question. And both of those items, the write section and the think section, along with coming up specifically with synonyms, are all going to set me up for the closing section today. Now, as I'm doing the closing section, I want to pay particular attention to this term descriptive words. And often when we think descriptive words, we're thinking about adjectives because we know that adjectives describe nouns, right? So if we're thinking about people, then maybe we're thinking, which, people are nouns, person, place, and thing. Maybe I'm looking for adjectives. Actually, what I want you to keep in mind is that, one, the concept vocabulary words are not the only important words, even though they're bolded in the text. There are other words that also are used to help paint a picture for the reader about characters, plot, tone, etc. And not all of those words are going to be adjectives. Some of those words actually may be describing actions or behaviors. So I want you to keep your eyes peeled in the text for words that you find to be descriptive and that they help you paint a better picture of Wanjiro, Maggie, and Mama's personalities. You may have some of those words already identified from your annotations, so your annotations are a good place to start. And then skimming through the text another time will help you there. Again, I am not pausing in between this time because all three of these activities are connected to one another. They build on the next. They're links in the chain that keep you moving. So if you start with that concept vocabulary chart, that will automatically get you thinking about the prompts in the think box. And once those two things are done, you should be ready to generate a list of descriptive words. And some of those words may even come up from your synonyms. You never know. Now it's your turn to get to work. So you're going to do your talk, think, write, closing. Remember, starting with that writing activity is my suggestion. And then heading into your think activity. The talk activity has already happened. And then you're going to close with identifying some other strong descriptive words in the text that help paint a clear picture of the characters. If you have any questions, you can always replay this video for clarity. And again, you can email your teacher for specific support if you feel that you need that. And one more reminder for you to share with a family member, friend, or caregiver your learning. And that's something that happens in the talk section. That's already built in for you, but continue to do that, especially in your closing activity. Whatever you come up with in your list, it'd be helpful to show what product that you created. Complete the weekly fluency activity using a page from the text, and make sure you do that 20 minutes of additional reading for your leisure. We've come to the end of another lesson, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I always have faith in your ability to complete this work. You can do this. I know that it gets increasingly more complex as we try different skills, especially craft and structure, but I have full faith and confidence in you, and I appreciate your commitment and effort. We'll see you back tomorrow.